Ahoy hoy, it's your boy Attack Slug, and this is my WrestleMania 31 predictions video. I guess everyone else did one, so why the fuck not? But if you want to know my extended thoughts on why the build is so terrible, go watch that video. It's about 18 minutes, and I kind of break down each and every match and why the build has been so just straight up terrible this year. But this is my quick and dirty thoughts on who is going to win and lose at WrestleMania 31. Let's get right down to it. The pre-show is going to be that Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match, which they did a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match last year, which is kind of fucking stupid. But it is the Brass Ring Club, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro versus the New Day versus Los Matadors versus the Usos. I think Tyson Kidd and Cesaro retain the belts because who cares about the Usos? Who cares about New Day? And who cares about Los Matadors, for real? Like, Usos, if one of them wasn't hurt, I could see them winning it. But since one of them is hurt, it's going to be a retain by the Brass Ring Club. Then the other half of the pre-show is the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, the mid-card memorial, and I think that Sheamus comes back and takes the whole thing. If Sheamus does not come back, you know, it could kind of be up for grabs for anybody, but I think Sheamus definitely, that is where he comes back, returns, gets rid of everybody else, and establishes another bland Sheamus push. Hooray. On to the main card, we have Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. I feel like Randy Orton's WrestleMania win-loss record is not great, and I don't think you bring him back after filming a movie with a hot return and then don't have him win at WrestleMania as the face. Now, obviously, there's going to be some J&J security shenanigans and whatever else, but I think ultimately Randy Orton is going to get the victory here. I don't think it hurts Seth Rollins to lose this match. I think he still has a great amount of heat on him. He still has the briefcase, and he still has his security team. I don't think a loss is going to hurt him at WrestleMania to Randy Orton that much. The Intercontinental title match. I think the smart money has been on Daniel Bryan. It is certainly possible they could surprise us, but everyone's kind of pointing to Daniel Bryan to reestablish the IC belt since they've taken him out of main event contention. They're going to say, oh yeah, here's the IC belt, kind of give it more prestige, give it more prominence, and if they actually do that, I'll be thrilled, because as I said before, the IC belt at this point is just bad luck, and kind of you really don't want it. And just on a side note, I think if we don't see Sheamus in the Battle Royal, then you not necessarily going to see him in this match, but certainly if Daniel Bryan wins it, an attack from a new heel Sheamus to attack the fan favorite Daniel Bryan would get Sheamus over as a heel tremendously and set up another long feud between Daniel Bryan and Sheamus. Rusev versus John Cena is an interesting one to call. I want to say Rusev needs to win here, but I just don't believe it's possible. Look at last year. Bray Wyatt needed that win, and he did not get it. So therefore, I see John Cena holding that belt, winning that belt for at least a month, and they're probably dropping it back to Rusev at Extreme Rules. I'm going to say John Cena here. As much as I don't want to see it, I think Cena doesn't need it. He doesn't need that win in this point of his career, but he'll probably get it anyway because of WrestleMania. So, of course he will. Sting versus Triple H, this one is an easy one to call. It is going to be Sting. You don't do all this work to finally get Sting in the last place he has not been at WrestleMania and then have him lose to Triple H. That just would make literally no sense. You've been building this since Survivor Series. You are going to have Sting go over unless you pull some kind of a Montreal situation because Vince is just that much of an asshole. I don't see that happening. I think they'll give it to Sting. He'll get a grand entrance, and he'll have his WrestleMania moment, finally, for the first point in his career. AJ Lee and Paige versus the Bella Twins. Who gives a shit? Give Divas a chance? I think the face team goes over AJ and Paige. It's Mania, but really this match, there's no belt on the line. If it was a singles match, perhaps I'd care, but it is a fluff tag team match just to get them on the show, just to have that break in between, you know, your next to main event and your main event, and whatever. The Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. As I have said before, I think Bray Wyatt needs to go over here. They almost ruined him last year with all that Cena stuff, with Mania and Extreme Rules and the little creepy demon child. They almost ruined him. You need to build back up Bray Wyatt as your 20-year game plan, your next... you want Bray Wyatt as your next Undertaker. That is what he needs to be if you're going to build that character in that direction. And as such, he needs to vanquish the current Undertaker as he rides off into the sunset. I don't understand why else you would bring Taker back yet another year and have him win, because the streak's over. So at this point, it doesn't matter if he wins or loses, there's no more streak. Now some fans pose the question, does Bray Wyatt beating Taker this year make Brock Lesnar look lesser in retrospect from last year? I don't think so. They've spent so long building up Brock Lesnar as this nigh undefeatable final boss of wrestling. I don't think Bray Wyatt beating an already battered and bruised from last year Taker this year, he is that much weaker having fought Brock last year, so it is still more believable to have Bray beat him this year, and I really hope we'll see some kind of a creepy, over-the-top transfer of power between the urn and the lantern. I think if you want to go full 80s wrestling, that is what you do in that situation, and honestly, I'd probably mark out for that. It'd kind of be cool. And finally, your main event of the evening, you have Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. I could not care less about Roman Reigns at this point. They have just totally, anything he had going for him when he was in the Shield, all that cool shit he did, they have managed to just ruin it for the past, since the Rumble. It has just been, ever since he came back from that injury, they have done their best to completely ruin Roman Reigns. And now that Brock Lesnar has re-signed with the WWE, I would imagine part of him re-signing was getting to retain the belt. And I would imagine that Vince does not want the situation of Roman Reigns winning the belt, coming out on the Raw after WrestleMania next week, and having that entire Raw after Mania crowd just shit all over your new champion. The only way you avoid that scenario is by having Roman Reigns win the belt, but have him get beat down so badly that he does not appear on Raw and therefore avoids that incredibly negative crowd reaction that he is sure to receive from all those international fans who want their guys to win and are tired of WWE building these new guys but not building them in a realistic way. At the end of the day, I think Brock Lesnar wins that match, retains his belt, spend another year building Reigns for Mania 32, and maybe at some point you won't ruin it, people will care about him again. But right now, the general sentiment on Roman Reigns is no. No. And I don't care how many boos you edit out of the replays on Raw afterwards. I heard those boos when it happened live. You can't hide that shit. So that has been what I hope, after I edit this down, to be a quick and dirty look at my WrestleMania 31 predictions. If you want an extended look at what I think of the build of WrestleMania, I have a video right here. It's about 18 minutes. Go check it out. But until then, and until next time, and every time, my name is Attack Slug, and I will see you next time right here on this channel. And I'm out.